Hey, what's up guys? It's Mario here from Junk Removal Money. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to start a junk removal business, everything you need to know. This video is probably going to get pretty long. We're going to cover legal stuff, equipment, branding, and marketing. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. There's quite a bit of stuff to cover, but this will give you guys a good starting point as to what to expect coming into junk removal and all the things you will need. So without further ado, we're going to get started with the legal side of the business. And what I mean by that is setting up an actual business entity. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about how to do that and the steps you need to take. So first of all, setting up a business entity, you're going to have to register with your Secretary of State. You're just going to Google that, Secretary of State, and you're going to go to the website, and I think you're going to pay about $100 to register your business. They're going to ask you for your name, the business address, and your personal information. Once you get that, you can go ahead and go to the federal site where you can apply for an EIN, and that is free. Basically, it's an employer identification number. It's basically like the social security number for your business, and that's how you file for taxes at the end of the year. So go ahead and do that. Within all this, you're going to have to choose the type of business you want to be registered as. You can choose from sole prop, you can choose from LLC or a corporation, and there's a few more. I'm not a tax expert, so I wouldn't, take my advice and to make a decision on it. I would talk to a professional about what type of business you want to be set up as. But I will tell you what I know, and that is to be a sole prop. Basically, you're exposing yourself to legal issues. What I mean by that is, if you're a sole prop, you're taking responsibility for anything that happens with the business. It all comes back to you. There's no buffer between you and the business. You are the business. When you choose to do an LLC or a corporation, basically it's separating your business from you. Your business is its own entity, so if there is a lawsuit or something that happens with your business, it won't affect you directly. They can't come after your own assets like your house, your car, and that sort of stuff. They can only come after the business itself. Now, and I don't know if it varies from state to state, but in some states, I know that like California, in order to set up a LLC, I think they charge you like $800 a year, something crazy like that. Here in Oregon, they don't. The other benefits that people would suggest to choose an LLC or S Corp are for tax purposes. There is a tax break, but I've come to understand, this is what I've heard, that there are no differences between being a sole prop to being a single owner LLC. You get taxed the same. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I think there are differences with the corporation setups as far as tax breaks. So look into that and see what fits your business the best, but I would suggest at least establishing an LLC or something that separates you from the business so that it could alleviate issues down the road where they're coming after your assets rather than the business itself. So once you've established those three things, you can go ahead and open up a bank account for the business itself. That way you can actually start taking payments towards a business rather than for yourself, and really start planning out what you're going to do with your taxes for the business. Once you've set up a bank account, depending on what bank you go with, some banks have an internal payment processing program. I think with Bank of America, it's called Clover, and that's what I use to run credit card payments. And for me, it works great. They have low rates. You get the money the very next day. The program also comes with its own dashboard where you can send invoices and recurring invoices, and they pay on through email. So that works out great. Some people use Square, and some other people use Stripe, and there's multiple services out there. So just look for what fits your needs. I know that Square can be kind of finicky. They've kicked me off in the past for no real reason. So just have a backup plan, because taking payment with credit card is important. Some customers, that's the only way they want to pay, or they're actually going to ask you when you get a phone call. One of the first things they ask you is, do you take credit card payments? And if you say yes, you're going to get that business. I've had people turn me down right when I first started just because I didn't take credit cards, and that was business that I was losing out on. So next thing, we've covered most of the legal stuff. Now let's talk about invoicing. depending on what type of customer you're working with, they're going to ask either for an electronic invoice that they're going to pay, within that day, or they're going to ask you for an invoice that they're going to pay within like a net 30 or a net 14, depending on who you're working with. If it's like a property management company, usually pay 30 days. But what I use for that is an app called Invoicing, and you can download it in the Apple Store or on the whatever the Google Play Store is. I'm going to leave links down below for the invoicing app. This is what I use for all my property management companies. I send them the invoice and then they'll pay within the next 30 days through check. But it's really simple to use and it's been my favorite. It's called Invoicing. I'll leave the link down below, as well as all the other things that I'm going to mention that I use. I'm going to leave links for them down below also. The next app I use for my business is called Setmore, and it's a scheduling app. I've talked about it before. When you're running this business, you really want to be, punctual and be really organized. So the app that I use to keep my head on straight is Setmore. And Setmore is great because if you're running multiple routes and you have multiple crews, you can actually have different profiles on there for each truck that you're running. You can also set up reoccurring scheduling, which is great. A lot of the other apps do offer that, but they do not let you do it through the app itself. They make you sign in on the PC and set it up, and that's just a pain in the ass for me. So I just use the Setmore app. In order to use the app, it is free, but if you're going to use the reoccurring scheduling, you do have to pay $20 a month. But $20 a month is totally worth it, so that you're not like forgetting certain accounts and you're making sure you're showing up on time. So that's a good one. The next thing we're going to be talking about is equipment. What equipment do you need to run this business? What can you expect getting started? So let's talk about trucks first. When I first started, I didn't know a whole lot about towing. I had a general understanding of engine sizes and that sort of stuff. And I had a Jeep when I first started, and I wasn't going to use that. It was an off-roading vehicle. It was a lifted Jeep, like on 37s and stuff. So I kind of know about gear ratios and that sort of stuff, but I didn't know about really towing big amounts of weight. So what I did is I purchased a Dodge 1500, not really knowing that it was going to wear out the transmission pretty quickly. So that was definitely a learning curve for me. I quickly noticed that truck wasn't going to do it, So I would stay away from anything that's a Dodge 1500, a Chevy 1500, or a Ford F-150. Those trucks aren't really made to tow a whole lot of weight. If they can tow it, they're not going to tow it for very long. Basically, that's what's going to come down to. The transmission is going to just go to shit on that. So if you're looking for a truck, I would suggest anything like a F-250, a 2500, or even a 3500, something bigger. If it's within your budget, go bigger. You're never going to regret it. I would suggest if you're going to go with a 2500, go with a bigger sized V8 or V10 or diesel. Diesel if you can. I know they're more expensive, but they get the job done a lot better. I've had V8s, V10s. I'm actually driving right now a V10, and I've had diesels. Diesels can get kind of expensive to fix, but they're pretty good trucks, depending on what kind of truck you get. So that really covers the trucks. Is really what's in your budget, and I would just suggest to go bigger rather than smaller with the truck. Now, when you're talking about trailers, if you can, start with a dual axle trailer just because it can hold more weight. And if you can, get a dump trailer. There's all these auctions, like public auctions in your city. You can pick up a brand new dump trailer sometimes if they're having the auction in your city for like $5,000. It's a brand new trailer that dumps like a 12-footer or 14-footer. So that's a good option. Or look on Craigslist or OfferUp. There's always deals on there. I've definitely found some cheaper trailers for good prices on those sites. Then if you're looking to kind of go into just the straight dump truck, the main one that people are using is the Isuzu NPR. You can find those at auctions as well. I've seen them go for like $7,000, $8,000 at the auctions. Dump trucks, Isuzu dump trucks. So check out those auctions. They're actually really good. There are really good sources to buy these vehicles if you know a little bit about mechanical work before you purchase it. You know, you want to inspect it and make sure that everything's running correctly. Apart from dump trucks, trailers, and trucks in general, you're going to need other tools such as sledgehammers. I've gone through so many of them. I leave them at sites and stuff like that, but that's probably one of the most important tools. So get a couple sledgehammers, get some wrenches on your truck, because you never know when you're going to have to take something apart in order to get it out of a house or that sort of scenario. Get screwdrivers, all the kind of screwdrivers you can find, power drills, a sawzall. You're going to use the sawzall to cut up hot tubs. You're going to get phone calls for hot tubs all the time. At least I do. I do 2 or 3 hot tubs a week. They're very, very common. People leave them sitting over the winter with the top off of it, or they break down, and it's more expensive to fix it than it is to just get rid of the thing. So we get those pretty frequently. The other thing you're going to need are some buckets and shovels. Buckets, shovels, brooms, and dustpans. Those are the most crucial ones, just because you're going to be cleaning up after yourself at these job sites. So you always want to have those on hand. Other thing is, if you're going to be buying a utility trailer that doesn't come with a tarp, I suggest getting a good tarp from the very beginning. Talk about those mesh tarps, not the tarps that you get from Home Depot. You're going to go through so many of those. It's not even going to be funny. They're going to be flapping everywhere, and you're just going to spend more money in the long run replacing these shitty tarps than to just get a good tarp from the very beginning. I'm going to leave a link below for the tarp from a site that I know that I purchased mine from. If not, I'll look on Amazon. If I find one that's like mine, I'll leave a link for the Amazon link below. They're not very expensive. I think my tarp was like $55, $55, $60, something like that. And it's lasted me a long time, way more than the Home Depot tarps. The other thing you're going to need are dust mask and respirators when you're cutting up hot tubs. You don't want to get any fiberglass in your lungs. That's not safe. Also, if you're doing any like light demo work inside these houses, or even just working in really dusty houses, you don't want to be breathing that crap in. Especially if you're doing clean outs where the house has been like abandoned for a while and there's like mold growing on the walls. You don't want to be breathing any of that stuff in, or asbestos if you're doing demo work. So definitely get some good respirators. Let's move on to branding your business. Most of you, when you start, you don't really think about this. You kind of just start advertising on Craigslist, and you're just a guy with a truck and trailer picking stuff up. I would suggest to create if you went through the legal process, like I said, you're gonna choose a name for your company, and then start designing a logo. Get somebody to design a logo for you so that people can see who's coming and remember that logo, or see it on the side of your trucks. And you're just gonna look more professional, look more like a business, especially if you have a logo in place that matches your URL to your website, decals on the side of your van or truck or trailer, the logo on your t-shirts, make sure it matches all your other branding. Business cards are just super important. I mean, I get people calling me from like a year or 2 years ago that I left a business card with, that they just found in their purse or they kept this whole time, and they're just calling me to do some more work for them. So at every customer you go to, leave your business card. Just order a bunch of business cards off of Vistaprint. They're not very expensive. If you even get like a nicer one made, I think they're like anywhere from $20 to $40, and you get like 1,000 of them. Really cheap. When I first started ordering t-shirts, I was just using Teesprings. It's like a site where you can design a shirt and purchase it for yourself, or have other people purchase it. The quality wasn't very good, so I went with a local screen printing guy. If you want his information, he's looking for more business. He made these shirts for me. Really good quality. These are the next level shirts. They're really breathable, and he did a really good job. So I will leave his if you want his contact info, let me know. Just reach out. I'll leave my contact info down below, and then if you want to get a hold of this guy, because I don't think he has a website. If you want to get a hold of this guy, let me know. He's a local business here in Portland, and he does a really good job. I think he does all the other stuff too. He does like decals and business cards and that sort of stuff. So if you're looking for his info on how to get some of this stuff made, let me know. As far as the logo, if you don't, I know how to use Photoshop, so it wasn't that hard for me. But if you don't know how to use Photoshop or any of the apps to create logos, you can go to Fiverr.com. I'll leave a link down below for Fiverr. And there's a lot of people that are designers on there that can make logos pretty cheap. 20, 40 bucks, 50 bucks sometimes. Just look at the reviews and see what people are saying about their services. But generally, you can find somebody pretty cheap on there that makes a decent logo. Let's move on to marketing your business. Marketing your business is probably one of the most important things, because you do all these things to start your business, but how are you going to get business? How are you going to get customers? How are you going to start making money? That's what it comes down to. So we're going to start off with free forms of advertising for those of you starting off with a budget. And the free forms of advertising that I have listed are social media. So with social media, you can start off by creating a Facebook profile and start throwing your branding on there and start putting up posts of your services. And actually, something that really helps is if you have family members who are, trying to support you and get your business going. My family members actually share my content. So I'll post on that Facebook profile page, and then they'll go through and share it on their wall. They'll share it on all their Facebook groups that they join, and surprisingly enough, that really works, and it's free. So the other thing you could do is, like I just mentioned, post in Facebook groups. There's a lot of local Facebook groups in your community, and you'd be surprised when you start searching locally, like the names of the cities you're around. They each have their own Facebook groups, and they'll have like 50,000 people in these groups that are just local, and they're always like looking for local businesses to work with or suggestions on what to eat, stuff like that. So if you drop your service in there, now read the group's rules and regulations, because a lot of them have rules where you can only advertise your business once a week or whatever it is, but you don't want to get banned from it. I've landed some really big jobs from doing this, and it works out well. So create a post, share it to that group, and you're going to see some results. And it's free. Just your time. You can also post on the Facebook Marketplace your services. And the last form of free advertising that I have is email property management companies. It's going to be time consuming, but emailing them is going to be worth it, because you're going to land these bigger sort of deals where you're getting repeat business from them, and you're going to build relationships and start growing as a business, because repeat business is the best. And if you can work with somebody to keep constant business going, that is by far the best thing you can do. So start emailing property management companies. I do have a script that I use, but I'm not gonna give it out to everybody. You can email me if you want to use the script. It's very simple. Honestly, it's nothing special. It's just introducing yourself and telling what you're doing, and how you can help them. So I'm sure a lot of you guys can come up with a good script. The other thing we're going to dive in, so now we've talked about free marketing. The next thing is lead service marketing. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of lead services out there, like Thumbtack. Thumbtack is one of them. And I actually like Thumbtack. Now, every one of these services works differently in other cities. Some cities they work in, some cities they don't. And maybe what works here doesn't work somewhere else. I'm just speaking from my experience, what's worked for me, what I like about it, what I don't like about it. So Thumbtack, I think that works really well if you have the time to reply to these people, and if you have a good amount of reviews on there. So the good thing is that Thumbtack makes it really easy for people to leave reviews, even if they didn't come from Thumbtack. Like, you can just send somebody there and they can leave a review through a text message. You can send them a text message with a link, and even though they don't have a Thumbtack profile, they can still leave a review. And that's how I got my reviews built up, and that's how I get consistent business from Thumbtack. Also, if you get a certain amount of reviews within a certain amount of time, they will push you toward the top of the results, and you're going to get a lot more free business. So Thumbtack is a good one. And also, if the way that they work is if the person doesn't write you back, then they don't charge you for that lead, or they'll refund you, which you don't have to be chasing them around for bogus leads. Yelp, I used them when I first started, and in my area I had some issues with them, just because I feel like a lot of the people that contacted me on Yelp didn't reply, and it was a pain in the ass sitting there and responding to them when Yelp has that like response rate time. So you always feel pressured to respond as quick as possible, or else your response rate will start to increase and it'll just look like you have a horrible response rate. So I was always on there trying to make mine as fast as possible. I think my response rate was like 10 minutes to respond, which was pretty fast in my area. Everybody's like over an hour or more. But people that just weren't responding, and it just kind of pissed me off. Also, it just takes a lot of your time having to reply to these people all day. As soon as you get them, you have to stop doing whatever you're doing. The reviews, they weren't sticking, which was annoying, and their reasoning for that is to make sure that the reviews that are sticking are authentic. But I don't know, it just wasn't a pleasant experience as far as the reviews, and it was kind of annoying. Also, as soon as you stop advertising with them, they will call you a million times, so expect that. I tried Angie's List, and I tried it because another guy here in Portland talked to me about it. He spends $5,000 a month on Angie's List, and he said that it was bringing him $60,000 in business every month. So I thought I'd give it a try for my industry, and it was a total flop. I landed like 3 jobs in 3 months, and it was a waste of money for me. So try Angie's List if you want. I don't know. Home Advisor. I've never tried Home Advisor. I've heard people say that Home Advisor works in certain places, and it works if you respond to the customer immediately, which doesn't sound completely bogus. But I know that Home Advisor owns Angie's List, so that's the only reason I don't try it, and I don't have the need to. So those are lead services. The next form of advertising that I want to mention is, I would say, the best, and that leads me into SEO and Google Ads, actually. So SEO is basically search engine optimization. It's where you optimize your website, give it good enough signals to rank on Google, and then in turn get you business for free, as long as you're doing your SEO correctly, or you have somebody else doing it for you, like an agency. The next form of advertising is, and I will be making more videos on how to set up SEO for your business. I'll be making short clips on like certain things, certain little techniques that you can do to optimize your site, and I should start making those next week, so be on the lookout for those. I have a lot of tips on SEO. The next one and the last one is Google Ads. That's what I use the most. In combination with SEO, I use Google Ads to, if I keep doing this, it's because I keep getting notifications from email. So Google Ads is what I use the most to get business for my junk removal company. And I'll give you an example. So like last week, I spent $280 on Google Ads, and in return, I did $13,500 in business. I did some pretty big jobs last week because of the Google Ads, and I got so booked up that I haven't been running ads since over a week now. No, since I got booked up last week, I stopped running ads. I think it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now we're Tuesday. I stopped running the ads and trying to get caught up with work before I start running them again. But I have a video on how to set up Google Ads. I'll leave a link for it right here, and I'll leave a link for it below. Watch how I set up the Google Ads. I do offer Google Ad services as well as SEO services if it's not something you're comfortable doing. That's what I do as well for other junk removal businesses, and I have a proven method, so it's really a win-win here. Those are my tips on how to start a junk removal company. If you feel like I left something out, or if there's something else that you want me to mention, leave a comment below. You can also reach me at 503-914-7250. Call or text me if you're having questions on how to start a junk removal business, or like I said, if you want help setting up Google Ads. I do offer that as a service as well as SEO. And I will be putting out more content, guys, on how to do SEO for your site, and other tips on how to start a junk removal business. So feel free to subscribe, like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.